failed that you think should have passed? Why do you think it failed, and why do you think it should have passed? If opposed to
One amendment that I believe should have passed would be the balanced budget amendment, in which it would require Congress and the executive branch to balance the budget every year in order to lessen our national debt.
I believe the affirmative vote amendment should be passed by the United States. As we can see in Texas and North Carolina, our right to vote is being infringed upon by the state government. And an amendment that affirms our right to vote would be very beneficial in this area.
Do you think we rely on judicial review too much because the amendment process is so hard?
I don't think that we rely on the judicial process too much. I think that the judicial process does an adequate job at doing what the amendment process should not. The amendment process is meant only to change the Constitution when it is absolutely necessary for the company and for the people. Otherwise, the judicial system doesn't do an adequate job. I don't think the judicial review system is we're using too much because in recent years, obviously the process of Congress has made it very difficult to pass the legislation, let alone the people's majority needed for a new amendment. So I do think that the judicial review is an adequate way to make changes to the Constitution.
I agree with my colleague. I believe that we use judicial review responsibly, and it's necessary in the way we use it. Even Alexander Hamilton stated in his Federalist Papers 78 that the interpretation of the law is a particular province of the courts, and therefore I believe that judicial review is being used correctly today.
Say people that say the 18th Amendment was just as much about the establishment of the income tax as it was immoral.
I would agree completely with those who state that argument. I believe that the 18th Amendment was something of a whim of the society, and that the 18th Amendment had no place in the Constitution, as it's supposed to be a list of principles that we need to abide by, not a list of specific rules.
Can you describe the process to get the amendment passed or adopted or enacted? And would you change that process in any way?
To get an amendment passed, it must first be proposed by Congress or by a state convention. It has to be proposed by 2/3 of Congress, or 2/3 of the state convention. To get the amendment ratified.
2/3 of, just to get it proposed, that's right.
Yeah, just to get it proposed. To get the amendment ratified, it has to be ratified by 3/4 of all the state legislatures.
And is there anything about that process that you would change, and if so, what?
I don't think that the process should be changed because the drafters made the amendment process only used when it's absolutely necessary, and 3/4 is a super majority, and that would make sure that the amendment proposed would be ratified under necessary circumstances.
I disagree with my colleague. I believe that the amendment process should be changed, and that actually after getting a 3/4 vote in the proposal, there should be only a 3/4 vote again in the House, because I believe that because of this limitation set in the amendment process, important amendments such as the Equal Rights Amendment were not passed, and they were definitely necessary to society at the time.
Do you think we have a better system here in California? Do we handle amendments better?
I believe that California does not have a better system, as we have 4,000 something amendments. And an average citizen is not able to read the whole Constitution and understand what rights are granted to a California citizen. Whereas the U.S. Constitution has only been amended 27 times, and we clearly know exactly which rights are granted to us.
It's important to note the differences between the California amendment system and the United States amendment system. California, in order to propose a new amendment to be added to the Constitution, only requires 8% of the voters who voted in the most recent governor election to sign a petition in order to place that amendment on the next vote. However, I do think that there are a few benefits to having a referendum system for the California amendment process, because it does allow the citizens to address certain issues such as the UC system, and Stanford, which are important to our state, but not to any other state.
Other than the Bill of Rights, what is your favorite amendment and why? I'm carving out the easy ones.
I do appreciate the 14th Amendment because first of all, I heavily support incorporation and the equal protection clause.
Personally, I really appreciate the 19th Amendment because it gives me my right to vote. And it definitely changed how gender was discriminated upon in society, and it really helps enforce the equal protection clause of the 14th Amendment.
Although not directly related to me, the 22nd Amendment really warms my heart. Because it allows for us to have a limited government in which one ruler or one president cannot stay in power for too long.
In the very beginning, you